to, the meeting will now come to order. We will start with the approval of the minutes of July 20th. Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Motion.
Okay, I hear any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. Okay, is there a financial update?
Yes.
Okay.
The available budget is $17,930, and we have used 8.2%.
Very good.
Okay. Okay, we'll place those on file. Correspondence. Okay, we've had the minutes. Any questions on the correspondence? If not, we'll go to the officer and committee report.
Okay. So my working conditions are that I'm still working at home and going to the office only when I need to access documents. The town hall, I don't know if you're all aware, but the town hall is now open to the public and face masks are required. So everyone is working regular. Every department is open for their regular hours. On the proposed zoning regulations, I attended the Planning and Zoning Commission's public hearing for the proposed zoning regs on July 22nd, and again for the continuation on July 27th. The hearing was closed at that time, at the end of the July 27th hearing, but no decision was rendered. So during the public hearing, some issues were discussed regarding parcels that fell within two different districts, and remedies were discussed. As a result, there will be some additional changes to the proposed zoning map. Tira had asked NECOG to amend that map because some of the parcels wound up in two different districts. So that has been amended, and the Planning and Zoning Commission will be discussing that this evening. They have a special meeting going that started at 6 o'clock. I attended it for a while because one of the other issues was that of the section on groundwater protection. So July 27th, I had brought to their attention that the groundwater protection section had been placed at the end of a section on low impact development, and it did not even appear in the table of contents. And I suggested that it be given a separate section. The commission agreed at that time, and I was asked to draft a little more explanatory text in that section, which I did. And this evening, when they started the meeting at 6 o'clock, they had the groundwater protection section first so that I could join them in case there were any questions. And they decided that it will be a separate section. It'll be in Article 5A, Section 4. That would be inserted under special provisions. So it will appear in the table of contents, and it's being given the appropriate attention. So I'm pleased about that. On the Selectmen's update, I sent a draft to all of you for your comments, and I did hear back from Bernie. He just had a couple of one grammatical comment, which was where I wrote Thompson Historical Society to put THS in parentheses because I used THS afterward, and the same thing throughout the document. So I did that. And does anybody else have any comments about the selectmen's update because I need to send it on to the selectmen's office in the upcoming days.
It sounded good to me.
Okay. We are limited as to the amount of information we can give, but at least it's an update. And as long as everyone's happy with it, I'll send it along ASAP. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. The other thing that I've been working on is the Planning and Zoning Commission. I think I mentioned this at our last meeting. They are now working on their 10-year plan of conservation and development. They need to have this done by the end of the year. So the planner drafted an outline for the contents of the document, and she developed a working schedule for each section. Input will be from various individuals interested in topics of choice. I sent you a PDF file earlier today so that you could see how the project is organized. I'm working on the agricultural section and the open space section. It's actually open
The
space.
ag section and the what?
Open space and conservation section.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. So I drafted some text for the ag section and I accumulated reference documents and I shared them with the other two individuals working in this group. So
Who are they?
That's Tira and Judy
Rhonda?
Rondo. Yes, thank you. What I'm hoping for is that anyone from the Agriculture Commission that's able to give some input on that. I think once the text is developed a little further might be a better time to pass it along to the Agriculture Commission for their comments or additions or whatever they want. You know, everyone is welcome to give some input.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So we've got a draft copy somewhere on our computer? Is that what you're saying?
well, I sent you a copy of the working schedule and the way that all the topics are organized, how it's what
Okay.
the table of contents in that new document is going to look like with all the
Yep.
Okay.
categories and subcategories. Yes.
The working schedule is all over the place in terms of time and dates. They are conflicting.
Yes, because they're going to have a few Zoom meetings where everyone that's involved will kind of report in. But other than that, each of the separate groups has a working schedule for themselves. You know, they can have a Zoom meeting or an in-person meeting if they're comfortable with that at the
But
town
even
hall.
then, it jumps from like August 31st to September the 10th to August 17th. It's not in like any sort of chronologically correct order. Like tonight's meeting that you were referring to on what you provided to us shows that the meeting was at 7 p.m. regarding current housing inventories, etc. Is that what you were talking to them about?
No, the Planning and Zoning Commission had a special meeting this evening it was not on the Plan of Conservation and Development. It was regarding the zoning regulations and discussion from the public hearing and possible action on adopting those regulations. That was at 6 o'clock.
So is there a meeting tonight at 7 p.m.?
You know what? I for some
It
reason,
says on here there is on Thursday. It says Thursday, but it's Monday, the 17th of August. Right? Or am I time warp or, you know?
I didn't bring that sheet with me. I can go grab it very quickly if you don't
Yeah, 'cause
mind.
it's all messed up.
Hold on a minute.
Okay.
Please.
you.
Okay. let me- Here. Okay. Now. Yeah. Okay, so the first page is saying review on Tuesday, August 27th at 7 p.m.
And mine says review on Tuesday, August 25th.
25th?
Yeah,
Yeah, review on Tuesday, August 25th at 7 p.m.
okay, yeah, I got that. And then the next one is the 31st at 7.
Correct,
And then it jumps to September,
correct.
and then it goes back to August 17th, which is today,
Yes,
right?
yes. That's just for that group.
So at 7 p.m. tonight, they're discussing the
They're
housing
working- Yes,
inventory.
yes.
And who are they exactly again?
That group is Cindy Dunn, she's the zoning enforcement officer.
Yeah.
Joanne Hall, George O'Neill, he's the chair of the Wetlands Commission. Joe Perotti Brown, he's the chair of P&Z, and Tara Penn, she's the planner.
Okay, and who is Joanne Hall?
Joanne Hall she's on the Economic Development Commission, and I'm not sure, she might also be on the Ordinance Committee.
Okay,
How do you spell Tira's last name?
I'm sorry, what was that?
How do you spell Tira's last name?
right here,
Tara?
P-E-N-N.
Okay, we see it. It's okay, thank you. Sorry.
You're welcome.
So they're meeting right now to discuss the housing inventory for the town?
Well, they're gonna address housing, yes. They're not, these are working groups, ongoing working groups.
So would we be able to view their meeting later on, since we can't attend it right now?
I would hope so. I think that Kira records every one of them and makes them available, every one of the meetings.
Where do I find that meeting? The town website?
I would go to the town's website, to the planning and to the agendas and minutes.
Okay,
And under minutes, you're going to have to wait until the minutes are available, but there should be a recording that you can listen to.
okay, thank you, Carolyn.
You're welcome. Let me also make a note. To check with Tira that those recordings will be available.
And perhaps they could put the dates in proper order so it's a little less confusing?
Well,
Or have they done it this way for a reason?
the reason why it's like this is because she used the table of contents, and you'll see that chronologically, each of the sections is numbered. But the particular groups, it's basically what dates will work out for them, Some people would be available on a Monday or a Wednesday. Some people would only be available on a Tuesday or a Thursday. So she had to coordinate how to get the dates for which everyone in that particular subgroup would be able to meet.
Okay,
So the table of, the topics are all chronological, but the meetings are not necessarily chronological.
okay. Yeah.
Okay, Carolyn, anything else?
Yes, I think so. Let's see. Okay, so I was gonna, okay. So I'm also reviewing our conservation and open space plan. I'm looking for information that can be useful for the Planning and Zoning Commission's updates to this new to the open space and conservation section of the upcoming 2020 to 2030 Plan of Conservation and Development. I think that some of the text in our conservation plan will be very useful for that section of their document. So I will bring that to Tira's attention, and I think some of that is going to be incorporated. So I'll be drafting some text for that next week and possibly the week after, and pass it on to the others in the group. What was your question, Norma?
Is their plan more of an active plan of what should be done? Then how would it differ from our plan? Is theirs more of an action plan?
Probably you could say that. It's also more comprehensive. We confine ourselves to natural resources and open space and conservation issues, whereas the plan for the town is going to encompass a lot of different aspects of the town. Infrastructure and public works. There'll be a little bit of history. Joe I. Martina will be involved in that. There'll be some discussion on the governance, the way that the town functions, Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance, etc. There'll be a section on the local identity, historical landmarks and so forth. There's a section on housing. There's a section on economic development, a section on transportation, agriculture section, recreation and trails section, an open space section, a section on wetlands and watercourses, and education, another section, a section on library services, a section on renewable energy, and a section on future land use.
Yeah. No, but are they looking at what they foresee it in the future, or what they want it to be, or is it what we have now?
Oh, no, Norma,
Well,
things could be
I think-
changing drastically.
Yeah, I think part of it is kind of, here's where we are now, and this is how we're going to move forward. I think that's.
Oh, then
I think
we
that's
better-
the gist of it. Because it's.
and
a
we better
plan.
pay attention. And
Yeah,
we better pay attention of what they're putting together.
exactly.
Yes.
I mean, who are these
Mhm.
people? I've never heard of half of these people. Where do they come from?
Well,
Where do these people come from? Who are they? These are not our normal, regular town folk.
they're people who have an interest and know how to use the computer.
Yeah, and I think they know how to do more than just use a computer.
Some of them are very familiar. Dennis Black, Charlie Obert, Judy Rondo, all of them involved in news.
Yeah, who's Joe Parati Brown? The guy who sleeps in the chair?
No,
Oh, he was sleeping in the chair.
he's an instructor at Marianapolis.
He's a Marianapolis instructor?
Yes.
Yes.
And he's the chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay. And who's,
No,
where does George O'Neill come from?
Well, he lives over by Odra Pond.
And he's a resident of Thompson for a
Yes,
long
and
period
has
of
been
time?
for a long time, yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, not all his life, but he's been
But I
here.
think they're interested people putting together and trying to make something work. So I think we just need to assist them in the project that they're working on.
I'm a little
So we-
concerned because if we bring in 300 families and put them in that mill, these families aren't paying property taxes. They don't have to buy homeowners insurance. We have to pay for their children to go to school. Who's going to pay for these things?
And their services.
And the infrastructure, just the infrastructure alone is not enough. They closed St. Joseph's School. So, you know, what happens to us as a town? What happens to our identity? This green and growing seems to be at odds with what we, especially as a Conservation Commission, started out trying to keep our town and community from becoming exactly what it looks like it's becoming. And
Well, that's why we have to follow
I'm
what's going on. I don't think we can pull it apart tonight, but
yeah, well,
I think we're getting the information so that we'll know what to do with it and try to participate in it, even if we're not computer literate.
yeah, because there's a lot of talk in here about assets and equity. I see those words coming up over and over, assets and equity and affordable housing. You know, this is our town we're talking about, and this is a build out plan over what, a 10-year period. And I think that our town is going to look entirely different with all these development corridors. It's you know,
That's
you
why
look at
you'll
right now
have
the
to-
traffic we have from Massachusetts alone, like 50% of the tags we see are from Massachusetts. When you move to Connecticut, you're supposed to change your tags to a Connecticut tag. But I'm not seeing that. You drive around Thompson, you look at the cars parked in the yards of these homes. These are Massachusetts tags. Now, Peter, you come from Massachusetts, right?
Yes,
Is your car registered in Connecticut?
yes, it is. Both of them.
Okay, I think we're a little off the subject here, but let's,
I don't think so.
well, I don't think we can answer all these questions. It's good to have them raised, and that's why we have to take an interest in the planning and zoning of what's coming up. I mean, there's a vote coming up, right, Carolyn?
There's a vote coming up possibly tonight on the new zoning regulations and the
Possibly.
map.
No,
Possibly.
but on the aren't the people
Most
of
likely, but I'm saying.
the town having don't we have to vote?
Not on the regulations, no. No, but there was a public hearing and any comments from the public were welcome. And
How many,
Go ahead.
were many people there?
Well, there were a couple of attorneys representing,
Ross.
definitely representing Rawson Materials. There were a couple of citizens.
A
No,
couple
more than
citizens?
a couple. Well, maybe 4 citizens.
Yeah, not many.
We watched it.
No, we were there.
That's kind of disgusting.
It is.
Well,
Not
they
only
all,
that,
they,
but this is not a democratic process. If
they also did have the draft on the website available for people to give any public comment for a long period of time prior to the public hearing. And they did receive written comments from quite a few folks.
So
They discussed.
So this group is going to vote on it and the rest of us just pay the taxes and don't have a say? Is that what you're saying?
sounds
I'm
like
saying that
to me.
they did follow all of the legal process of changing their regulations and their map. They followed
Yeah.
all the legal process. So, you know,
Okay.
in terms of ordinances, those have to go to a town meeting, but these are regulations and they don't go to a town meeting.
Okay. Okay, I think we've talked that to death. Anything else, Carolyn?
Well, the only thing I could say is that on this plan of conservation and development, once they have the entire draft together and ready to go, that'll be sometime in December, they hope. They will bring it before the Planning and Zoning Commission, and the commission then will vote on it. This is something that's mandated by the state that the Planning and Zoning Commission is responsible to produce every 10 years. And that's the legal process for that. That also does not go to a town meeting. there you have it. The
So,
only- Go ahead. Do you
go
have-
ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say the only other thing that I have to report is that I have been using the new GIS software and I'm getting more familiar with it. I still have a
Oh,
little
good.
ways to go. So that's my whole update.
Okay, I have some questions
Yes.
from the minutes, and I didn't know if they were going to be covered, but I guess I could bring them up now. You had mentioned in your minutes that you drafted a map for the proposed lake district. You and Mala.
Yes.
Were there some requirements, so many feet, or what did you go by?
Well, I didn't do so many feet. Between Marla and I, we just kind of looked at the areas that could adversely impact the lake. So many of the lakefront properties, which are small, were definitely included. Some of those lakefront properties also had the lots were larger and reached back farther. Originally, we just followed the line behind the kind of the first row of lakefront properties. So those wound up, some of those large, there were about 3 or 4 large lots that needed to be changed because it was cutting the parcels, it was cutting through the parcels. And what was discussed was including that whole parcel. In that case, 3 to 4 of those lots, the whole parcel is involved. That's
Okay, just
you know,
wondering how it was
was
put
beyond
together.
what that was a little beyond what Marla and I had recommended. If you want to see a copy of that, I can email it to you. I can email.
No, just wondering
Yeah.
how you decided. That was all.
Well, you know, in a way, it's almost like following a ridge line. You know, I also did look at the topography so that,
Yeah.
you know, if someone didn't have erosion controls, it could adversely affect the lake. So, you know, I pretty much use topo and common sense combination.
Yeah. Okay, that was all. I just wondered how you did it.
Okay.
My second question is the Wolf Den Land Trust sold the parcel that they owned in Thompson.
Yes.
Is that legal? I mean,
They divested themselves of a parcel. Yes.
What parcel, where?
It's actually adjacent to the airline trail, and it's landlocked. It's a landlocked piece of property. I think it was about 11 acres. And much depends on how the deed was written up. You know, a person can donate land to a land trust and not ask the land trust to conserve the property. If they don't specifically have that in the deed and they're allowing the land trust to use it as an asset, it can be sold in order to use the money to get something that's more. I don't know if that's the case for this particular piece of property.
Because normally properties cannot be legally landlocked, I don't believe. Someone has to allow you to pass. I don't think that is, so I guess the larger question is, like what Norma was saying, if you sell or donate a piece of property, and Ron, you might know the answer to this, to say the Wyndham Land Trust, if you don't specify on the paperwork from the very beginning of that transaction, then later on, the Wyndham Land Trust could decide to say, sell some of their parcels up at the top of the hill here?
No. Normally speaking, if land is donated, there is a condition of conveyance which says that the land trust, the land is now preserved in perpetuity for conservation.
And that's if it's donated? I missed part of your,
That is not the case on all pieces of land, but most donations come with those conditions. The other thing that applies to land is some of the land that the land trust has jurisdiction over is by way of a conservation easement. Now, that simply, if it's properly worded, sets out what can and cannot be done. But basically, again, the attempt is to preserve the land in perpetuity from being developed.
but if they sell it, if they don't donate it, but they actually sell the land to the Wyndham Land Trust, then what is the potential for that?
It's very unlikely that the land trust, normally the bylaws of the land trust don't allow it to go into the real estate business, which I think we're concerned.
But bylaws can be changed, correct?
Well, now
it depends.
we're getting into the nitty gritty. I am confident that the Wyndham Land Trust has got its land locked up in perpetuity. Now, I will say that the town is equally at risk here because the town has a number of parcels which we've discussed before, and some of those parcels do not have a conservation easement on them. And there are, I think, about 60, 70 acres that I can think of offhand that are in all lots, landlocked, no conservation easement. And it would be very interesting to see what happens when the discussion on this comes up in item 12 on the 20th of October. That seems to be one of the key dates when
That came through.
Bad. We couldn't hear the last sentence.
I couldn't hear the last sentence.
all of this planning operation going on for the town, and there are a number of paragraphs, and 12.1 through 12.5 deal with conservation issues, and it will handle things like the open space that the town already owns but does not have a conservation easement on, the parcels that the town owns that does have a conservation easement. If you recall, we have land up near where the states come together, and
Yeah.
that land did not have a conservation easement on it until we held a town meeting to place that binding item on the title to the land. That land that the town owns now cannot be messed about with. It is preserved by a conservation easement. Is that not correct, Carolyn?
That's correct. That's correct.
I have expressed.
I think that this particular property that is causing this discussion, I think it was left, someone passed away, and in their estate, they left it to the wolf den.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to check the deed and I'll get back to you on this. I don't think there were any restrictions on the deed. I don't think there was any intention written in the deed. So, but I will check it. I've made a note to take a look at that deed and get back to you on, what, if there were any conditions.
Yeah, because if they donated the land to Wolf Den and then Wolf Den turned around and sold it, then that may not have fulfilled their wishes, the owners of the parcel.
Well, the owners, if the owners did not
Specify.
state anything,
Then how did Wolf Den end up
then
with, but you're gonna look up the deed, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
When anybody gives land, they should consult a lawyer, and they should put in as a condition of conveyance, and the management plans for many of our that have been donated, there is a condition of conveyance. And those conditions are as tight, even tighter in some respects than any or conservation restriction.
Yeah.
In other words, people who give, really, they're really intent on doing the right thing. They've got to make sure that there are conditions of conveyance that restrict the land trust or anybody else messing about with the land after it's been conveyed.
You know, I would like to add to that. The fact is that in most transactions, it's very clear what the intention is on the part of both parties. And it's well documented in the paperwork. So land trusts aren't, you know, I don't want to give the impression that a land trust can take any piece of land anytime they want and sell it and then use the money for something else. I don't want to give that impression. But I think,
yeah, let me comment here. Wolf Den Land Trust is a little different
yes,
from the Wyndham Land Trust. The Wolf Den Land Trust makes it, they raise some of their income by logging
forest man,
select,
yes,
and the Wyndham Land Trust has recently had to log some land because of the invasive species, particularly the emerald ash borer. We've had to take down ash, and we are at the moment very heavily involved in trying to preserve chestnut trees and also trying to stop invasive species getting onto our land.
Mhm. Well, thank you for those.
So when the land trust logs the property, do they sell the timber, or is this timber no good because of the emerald ash borer?
You can get some reward. We got some money back from Hull Forest Products for ash trees that were taken down on the Acre Preserve over in Pomfret. We have not done anything like that in Thompson. In Thompson, the real concern is invasive species on Bull Hill, and particularly trying to save chestnut trees.
Mhm.
And there are a lot of chestnut over on the Bull Hill Preserve?
Not enough, not enough.
Which chestnut? There's different chestnuts too, right?
The big issue is, should we be allowed to replant hybrid, that is genetically modified, possibly chestnut, because that's the only way I think the chestnuts can be saved.
Is that the American chestnut?
It's an American chestnut, and they're trying to find a hybrid that will work and will survive.
Okay.
Thank you, Ron. Okay, I just found the agenda, I'm sorry. Under old business, is there any update on any previous conservation reviews that we
no,
need to discuss? Okay. We don't need to discuss bluebird houses, and we don't need to discuss the honor roll. Groundwater protection you've mentioned.
Mhm.
The neglected cemetery grant is still in force. We just have to put in the last amount of money,
For reimbursement,
report for the reimbursement on it. It's being worked on. In fact, there were 3 people working on it today.
good.
A sad note, which probably shouldn't go in the minutes, but when I walked on the cemetery today, the man who we're paying to fix the gravestones found two of the stones that he had repaired laying flat on the ground. So we looked them over and found that the lawnmower hit them.
Oh, gee.
And but so I've spoken to the town foreman, and that is being taken care of.
Oh, good. Oh, my goodness. What a shame.
Yes. I thought he was going to cry. He said, I worked a long time getting those stones straightened.
What a shame.
But anyway, so that grant will be used up and we'll get our money for it.
Very good.
We'll collect the money from OPM.
Very good.
Okay, any new business to be brought up before this meeting?
I can't think of any. Anybody else?
Since there's questions out there on some of these subjects, you know, if you as members wish to know more about a certain subject that'll affect you having input at this meeting, we can always ask for basic information as Ron was giving us or whatever, but we can have someone come in or one of our members give a presentation on some background if we need an education on certain subjects. Right, Carolyn?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, does anyone have any questions on that comment?
No, but I want to add a little piece of information.
Okay,
I also remind you that the Wyndham Land Trust is not, doesn't have a lot of money. If we purchase land, it is generally with a grant. For example, the Robbins Preserve, which you are very familiar with, Norma, that the grant that the Land Trust obtained to purchase that land has conditions that are just as restrictive as any conservation easement. And every time we get a grant, normally there are strict conditions. So as far as the Wyndham Land Trust is concerned, and I'm pretty sure New Roxbury and Joshua, I think that there are safeguards. But I think that as far as town is concerned, I think I'm glad we've got another Conservation Commission meeting in September before there is this review of to which the Conservation Commission is going to be invited on the inventory of dedicated open space, commitment to conservation, etc., etc. That would be a time when I would certainly like to know what the town what people in the town think about those parcels, landlocked parcels, town owns, but which are not at the moment protected, not protected in any way.
and when can we have a discussion on that at our meeting and go over some of them?
We could
Would that
put it
be
on,
beneficial?
put it on the agenda.
Yes. Wouldn't that be good?
I think so.
Okay. You got that, Carolyn? 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 I'm not hearing anybody.
I'm here, Norma.
Is Audrey there?
Oh,
It looks
my
like
power's
Carolyn-
going.
I'm here, but I just
Something's
lost
wrong.
power, so I don't know if Carolyn lost power
Yeah.
as well.
I don't see Carolyn here right now.
The power is
I can't.
Thompson in North Grovenordale, so I don't know if she lost power.
Oh,
I just lost it for a
Uh,
couple
The
seconds.
power went off here, but it came back on.
Yeah.
Mine's back on halfway.
Well, that's because
Okay, Carolyn?
Eversource hasn't been out there cutting down all those dead oaks. Good old Eversource.
Oh, the red oak.
Okay,
The dead oaks.
Okay.
All the dead oaks from the gypsy moths are standing all along the roadsides, taking out our power time and time again, and Never is not around.
They're spending their $40 million bonus.
okay. Any other new business?
No.
Any citizens' comments?
I'll be interested to see how the planning and zoning regulations shake out.
Me too. But I
Yeah.
guess we don't have a vote. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, it's a dictatorship now, not a democracy.
Well, let's be nice.
Okay.
Okay, members forum? Anything else
Nope, nope.
members forum, sorry. Any member have a comment?
Nope, nothing.
Okay, any announcements? Okay. Our future meeting is September 17th. Do we have to have a Zoom or can we meet with the mosquitoes or something?
Norma, this
On
is
the-
Norma. This is Amy St. Ange.
Yes,
Honestly, your group is relatively small in the numbers and you don't generally have a lot of public. If you wanted to meet in the cine room and socially distance as a group, I would be fine with that.
oh, I would love that. This is
I would
horrible.
love to make you happy.
Well, then we'd know, we could see what other people, we could have a frank discussion. You can't have a frank discussion looking at a piece of paper.
Yeah, and I honestly,
Well-
I don't think that you'd be over the 25 limit for an indoor event, so.
Mhm.
And we have masks
Okay.
and gloves that we wear, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So can we try,
perfectly-
can we try that, Carolyn?
We can't find Carolyn. She may have lost power.
Oh, okay. Well, all right, then fine. If we've lost Carolyn, no other comments, I'll declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you very much for your input
Thanks,
and
Nora.
stay well.
Good night, you guys.
Yeah,
Good night.
Good night.
See you later.